with GM's Tricks of the Trade 41, I think. Making his way to the rating. The Thunderdome ring, is that what it is? I just watched the huge concluding action sequence of Fury Road. I think one of my two favorite movies of the past decade. The other one being Atomic Blonde. I absolutely love that movie. But Fury Road was awesome. But yeah, we are here for GM's Tricks of the Trade number 41. We're going to talk about visual aids this evening. Taken care of. Yeah, I know you did. I can't comprehend hating that movie. They had me from the very beginning. The visuals on it are absolutely fantastic. Chuck is out tonight. He's sick. Just Skype us over. He's knocked down with the flu or something. I don't know. But anyway, so the visuals on Fury Road are just fantastic. But that opening, and like in the 15 minutes into it, when they're going into the giant tornado, and the one guy, I can't remember his name, but he sprays the chrome on his face. He says, I live, I die, I live again. Like we're having a feature. But all shining in chrome. I absolutely love it. It's actually a perfect example of good game mastering, if you think about it, because the director created a religion in 3 sentences in a 2-minute stream. In a 2-minute stream, he had this whole religion built, or 20 seconds of film time. He had this whole religion built, and you knew exactly what it was about and what was going on with it, with its reference to Valhalla, and then the chrome and the spraying and I'm going to die. Is absolutely fantastic. Throws off into bed. The Babunski staggers on, weakened with illness, but he does not quit, as a good troll never does. So we won't have Chuck's direction tonight. We'll just have Tim's, which will be good enough, of course. But thank you, everybody, for showing up. This is GM's Tricks of the Trade number 41. We will bibble-babble for a little bit and let people wander in and join the stream. We'll get started in a couple minutes. And then we'll hack through it. Tim, are we doing a giveaway today? I think we are. I think at the 40-minute on the hour, we are doing some kind of giveaway. Just a couple of idiots getting by. Yes, indeed. Troll is synonymous with idiot, so it works out very well. And they've got Tim and Chuck have everything streamlined for me at last, so I don't have to do anything other than copy, paste, and turn everything on, and then I'm good. So I can't mess it up very much. Yes, there will be a raffle, I guess. Is that what you're saying? Babunski? Not yet, Babunski. How's it going, M5? Thanks for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. If you have not already done so, please give us a follow. We sure appreciate it as we're building up this Twitch channel. And in the coming days and months, we're going to be using it more and more. Obviously, we've got GM Tricks of the Trade, which I do every week, and then an AMA. How's it going, Degore Jones? Did I say that right? If you can't actually answer me. Hey, Twitchy. But yeah, so we're building this up. We got the GM Tricks of the Trade, AMA, and then Tim's got his show on the World Anvil on Wednesdays, and Chuck's running the game on Saturdays. Davis is super excited about Twitch, and he's got, I think Tim got his computer set up so Davis can get in and start either doing his own games or his own shows, or he can join us, me, Tim, Chuck, whoever, and throw in his madness to the whole thing. It is time for a second edition. Monks need an extra +1 to AC over the current book levels. No way should a first level monk have the same AC as our first level wizard. We have an official complaint against Castles and Crusade Players Handbook. I will write this down, Mr. Jones. I will write it down. Yeah, the monk is an interesting class. Probably, I never liked the class primarily because Dungeons and Dragons AD&D based it on. I don't know that they based it on, but it had that connotation by David Carradine's Kung Fu TV show. I was never a fan of that television show. In my there you go. In my earlier days, I didn't like martial arts. Now I came to like martial arts later, but his shows were a little bit too hokey for me. Yes, I did. But we're gonna get sued, Chuck. Is that proprietary property that you put up on our Twitch stream? I'm not sure how that works. Hopefully not. We'll take it down after this stream, and no one will ever know it ever existed. I'm sure that's not the case, but and you used one of the rules from Zombieland. Is double tap? That's number one, isn't it? Isn't that rule number? No, cardio is rule number one. I can't remember. I thoroughly enjoyed both of those movies. Too old. Yeah, something. If you haven't seen Double Tap, Zombieland Double Tap, definitely go watch it. Zombieland itself is a great movie. Zombieland Double Tap is ever bit as fun, if not more fun, than the first one, which is usually a very hard thing to do. So definitely check that out. So everybody who's just joined us, we're just chit-chatting for a little bit until we get, usually at about 8 minutes after, we'll dive into the GM tricks of the trade, but we're letting people wander in. Taylor, it absolutely was, and I can't remember the actress's name. The blonde chick was a fantastic addition to it, because they picture this kind of ditzy blonde, but she's not. And that scene where she uses sarcasm for the first time was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. She almost stole the movie, but how's it going, Effie? But I absolutely love that movie. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Go watch Zombieland Double Tap. If you have not seen Atomic Blonde, oh my good Lord, watch Atomic Blonde. If you don't like 80s music, you'll love 80s music by the end of it. And if you love 80s music, you will feel really great about it. Action sequences through the roof. Charlize Theron does an amazing job, and it's just a great movie. And then, of course, Tim's favorite, Fury Road. Definitely see that. Decided not to go to Gary Con. I'm deeply unhappy about it. I'm looking forward to seeing all the trolls in 2021. Yeah, no, Gary Con is this is an unfolding tragedy, I suppose, for the convention and obviously for the country and for all of those poor people who have the coronavirus already, both in the United States, Italy, and everywhere else. It is an absolute mess, and it's going to cause economic shockwaves, the likes of which we have not seen for a while. And Gary Cohn's just one small part of that big thing, but. Yeah, it's a shame, but definitely do not go to any gatherings if you do not feel as if your health is going to survive, or even risks, exposing someone around you. It's absolutely madness to do that. I think in all of the conversations about, the virus is this, the virus is that, we forget that 14% mortality rate for older people it's bad. That's horrific. That's middle age is bad. That's not good. So. Definitely, if you're taking care of elderly people or interact with them, or just bite the bullet and duck out of the crowd and go back to the gaming table where we all belong anyways. The Raid, oh my good Lord. Detour Junes, The Raid, Redemption, both of those Raid movies, there's two of them, fantastic. I cannot remember, is that an Indonesian film, I think? Good Lord, it's one of those films that starts and then the action just goes and goes and goes, and it doesn't let up until it is done. It is the first one's better than the second one, but the second one's really, really good. So definitely watch it. The Raid is just really, really cool. The sequence in the hallway where you fight 28 different people. It's fantastic. So there's another movie. I'm giving you a list of movies. You'll all enjoy them in our new age of, what are they calling it? Social distancing. I knew it would come to me. Yeah, in this momentary respite and our social distancing, Here's a whole bunch of movies to watch: The Raid, Redemption, Atomic Blonde, Fury Road, and I forgot the other one. So whatever the other one was, watch it too. So the toilet paper is the new currency. None of the apocalyptic movies, they didn't carry through with that. They didn't explain how in the apocalypse toilet paper will be the new gold. It will be the currency that we all trade amongst. So it's a brave new world. And I do want to point out that when Bob showed up in The Walking Dead, this is season 3 or 4 or something, there's a scene of him and he's laying on the top of this tractor trailer, the trailer part of the truck, and next to him is a roll of toilet paper. And when I saw it, I thought, Bob gets it. Bob gets the apocalypse, and he understands it. So I have to go to work through all this. They won't let me fly from home. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think containment's an issue. Definitely, that cat's out of the bag. But I think now it's mitigate. You know what unfolding catastrophe we're all looking at. And hopefully we will. Of course, we'll pull through it. We always do. But it'll be a bumpy ride for a couple of weeks. But the nice thing is, and this is kind of cool, that this whole Twitch thing has exploded. YouTube, a couple of years before, but exploded in the last couple of years. Because we can still kind of reach out to each other, right? And communicate and be part of the same community. We're still sitting at the same table. Just a little distance between us. It's like the 1840s all over again. So there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, thank you for showing up. We're going to dive into the tricks of the trade here in just a second. Visual aid this week. Exactly. Value that experience. Igor Jones, value it. Leaves are no replacement. It's telling you, it's just not as good. People say it is. It's not. It's just not. Party like it's 1840. Absolutely. A lot of distance between us. Yeah, Effie, I've seen some of the videos coming in. We seem to be fine here in Arkansas. Nobody's, there hadn't been any runs on anything, but obviously Arkansas is a smaller community, so it's not however many people live in L.A. and San Diego running to the grocery store. So crazy times. What is that old Chinese proverb? May you be cursed to live in interesting times. We are so cursed, I suppose. Yeah, see, now there you go, Scott Gegg. Now you're ahead of it. You're ahead of the curve on that one. That's the way to do it. And I did see on the internet today someone attached a shower hose to their toilet and sort of made it improvised bidet. So maybe that is where we all end up in the end as this apocalypse unfolds and unwinds around us. All right, with that happy news, let's dive into these GM tricks of the trade. So this week, we're on issue number 41. We're talking about visual aid. And it's something that pops up at tables frequently. You'll see DMs, GMs, CKs, whatever. You'll see them hold up pictures to kind of let everybody know what's going on. They'll describe stuff, and then they'll send an image over on the phone, or they pull a video up or whatever. And the whole purpose, of course, of the visual aid is for the game master to get that whatever it is that they concocted in their head across to the players. But I think that, in my experiences, generally visual aids can be more distracting than they are helpful. It takes your mind away from the game as you're kind of looking at the picture and trying to digest the picture. Whereas if you actually describe what it is that you're doing, or the NPC, the battle, or what have you, each individual person at the table who is listening to your description is going to conjure a different image. So if you have an encounter and then you suddenly show a picture, whatever image was forming in their mind is going to suddenly alter and change, and now they're going to question your image, and they're going to question their image, and it's going to mentally inside their kind of thought processes, it runs the risk of derailing what you're doing. And you don't want to do that. That's one of the things we've pushed in all of these tricks of the trade, is you never want to derail the game, and you never want to let the game get derailed for any reason. So visual aids tend to do that, with the exception of maps generally. So the first trick of the trade is the double tap. So generally speaking, I always describe. I don't pull out any kind of visual aids. I just describe something. If it's and I let the characters digest it, and if it's something that they really need to understand, because I understand, and you guys do, I'm sure as well. If they don't completely grasp the picture, it's okay. Whatever they imagine in their head is fine, just so long as they imagine something, right? Sometimes, of course, you want them to have a really good and clear understanding of what's happening, of the slope of the hill, or where the boulders are, or what kind of door it is, so that they know how to properly react. In that case, where you might think a visual aid is helpful, and it can be, and we'll get to that, I think it's trick of the trade too. Give them the double tap, give them the description again, change it up a little bit, focus on something different, and try to draw questions out of them so that when you're describing it, they get a better idea of it. So instead of pulling a picture out, and instead of turning to a video or something like that, give them the description twice. 3 times is probably too much. If you haven't gotten it through to them twice, 3 times you're just going to belabor the point, and everybody else at the table, you're trying to get player X to understand. Everyone else at the table is going to start getting bored, and then they're going to start wandering off. So the double tap works fine. Just give the description twice. If it doesn't stick, then let it unfold and play begins, and then kind of patch it together. But generally speaking, 1 good description works. If it doesn't, 3 times a maybe. Yeah, if it doesn't work, don't give them a second one, but don't go in for a triple tap there. It's just not going to work. Jennifer, yeah. Breakfast might not be in the offing. So if you're doing when you're doing your descriptions, just give it a second go around so that it sinks in and everybody kind of grasps what's going on. There's a dog having at it. Hello, Willie. Willie the rat. How's it going? So as always, anytime you guys have comments or suggestions or questions about any of these tricks of the trade, past, present, the ones we're talking about now, definitely throw it there in the feed. I'd love to hear from you guys. You people have been running games for a long time, and you have many experiences, just like I do, so it's always good to feed off of each other. We're all at the same table, so definitely join in our conversation, and don't let me hog the airspace, as it were. But, and thank you all, actually, for showing up and hanging out with us tonight in this new age of social distancing, which hopefully Twitch can kind of bridge a little bit there. So don't mind us, we're having a side convo. There you go, that works too. It's just like a table. Everyone's at the table doing their thing. It's just the way it is. So the second approach, the second thing on visual aid, if you want to use it, that's fine. I mean, if you want to have you see something on the internet that really fires you up, or that inspires you quite a bit, and you really want to convey this image to the players, then definitely get your visual aid. However, what I normally do when I do it, and it's very, very rare, is I'll load it on my phone. And obviously in the old days you couldn't do that, but now I just load the thing on my phone. Obviously our group, I don't know if yours does, but ours has a group text, so it's very easy for me to send an image to everybody simultaneously. So load this thing up on your phone, 2 or 3 images, whatever it is, and have them ready to go as soon as you're set to give them the image. Now, what I'm talking about is in trick 2 here after the fact is I still strongly recommend that you describe what it is that you're trying to get across, whatever it is, whether it's terrain or NPCs or whatever. Go ahead and give them the description that you have in your head. And while they're digesting that, while they're kind of putting that together, even though, a little bit contradictory to the previous trick, you want them to have, you want them to have control of the image, but in this case, you really needed to be specific, then send them the image. Send it to them immediately after the description. So you give the description, they're kind of piecing it together in their head. Now check your phones, that's what I'm getting at. And if you do it immediately, before they have time to formulate fully what's going on or what they're even picturing or how they're going to respond to it, they've got an image in their hand, and they can say, oh, okay, this is what the game's talking about. So that's the after the fact thing. So load it on your phone, send it to them, so they get this thing relatively quickly. before they can think. And maybe some people think quicker than others. I don't think that fast. my brain kind of stays torpid for a while, and then it kicks into gear. Let's see. How would World Anvil help with this for images, terrain, and maps? Okay, that's actually a great question Tim's thrown out. So Tim, for those of you who may not know, he's got a team of people together, and they have been working insanely hard to put all of the codex have aired. That's the TROLLZAH Games standard campaign setting. It's this gigantic 300-page book. It's got a dozen or so support books with it. He's moving it all to the World Anvil site. Tim, if you could put that site up so folks can poke at it. He's moving it all to the World Anvil site, and essentially what this is doing is it's breaking the world apart and into digestible pieces. So if you're playing in, say, the Darkened Fold, you can actually go online and read stuff on the Darkened Fold. So, and that's actually, I'm glad you said that, Tim, because that rattles my cage a little bit. So one of the visual aids that I do use, and I use frequently, is maps. And it's terrain maps, so that whether it's down and dirty to where the players are actually fighting the orcs, or if it's a world map, I use these things frequently, and all that does is give the player a greater context of what's going on. You're really not trying to impart, the type of armor that knight is wearing, or the spell that the wizards, what the spell looks like. What you're trying to do is give them context and just kind of the real world thing, so they know where they are. They can place themselves in a real world situation because they're next to the town of Alpengrund or whatever it is, and that just gives it a whole different context. So that's what maps do. So maps, a little bit different than the visual aid I'm talking about tonight, but definitely a visual aid. And the World Anvil is going to be that online, and it's going to be extraordinarily accessible online. It goes live for us, officially live for us on Monday. We're going to set up subscription tiers. I think right now you can pop in and see what's going on and what you can get all in there. But that type of visual aid is perfect because you'll be able to say, go to the World Anvil site, go to the map 2 or whatever it is, and then there's the map, and you don't have to have things sprawled across the table trying to explain this. That's always one of the logistical problems of running a game, using miniatures and maps and any kind of these, pieces that help the game flow. That the GM is behind the screen or on the other side of the table, however it is you play, and all of this stuff has to be in the middle of the table. The GM is constantly getting up, going over there, and moving stuff around, or telling the players to move items X, space Y, or whatever it is, and it slows the game down, it jams things up. So the World Anvil will help us actually, as gamers at the table, whether whatever you're using the resource, will help us get over that hump. Still a problem with miniatures and all that business, but so we're going to play. Okay, so no, that's right. I guess we're not going live Monday. Maybe it's Wednesday, but Monday we're going live with the Castle Keeper's Guide. Kickstarter. That's the Castles and Crusades Castle Keeper's Guide. We're going into our third printing of this. That's this big old fella here, about another 350-page book. The second printing is about done, and we're going to do add about 32 pages of content to the Castle Keeper's Guide. A lot of them images. The CKG is absolutely filled with just tons and tons of aids for GMs, for CKs in particular, but really it's kind of a universal game. Our universal book. Most of it can be used by whatever game you're playing. So what we're going to do is add a whole bunch of visual aids to these charts. There's a whole chart on ships, so I want a picture of each one of those ships. There's a whole chart on types of wagons and carts and chariots, and I want pictures on those, so that when the CK or the player is looking for this item, they can go right here and say, hey, this is what it is, this is what type of, how much it holds, and all this other business. So that launches on Monday. And we're tying that a little bit. Part of the whole Kickstarter thing will be promoting the World Anvil so people can go over and see what we're doing. Then I guess a week after that, we'll see the World Anvil go official with the sub-levels and all that business. Thank you, Ultra Magnus. It's one of those things that the reprinting of these books, we certainly don't want to change the game and all. That's not part of what Castles and Crusades is, but there's always improvements. You know, you go to the printer and it comes back and you go, man, why didn't I do this? One of the things I discovered in the Castle Keeper's Guide, about a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever. All this fantastic chart on ships has, you know, crew, the number of crew, speed, carrying capacity, cost, but what it doesn't have is the one thing that I needed, which was how much does it cost for the characters to rent passage on the ship. I just needed some kind of goalpost. It doesn't have to be super realistic, just a goalpost that I can go with. That's 10 gold pieces ahead, you know, or whatever. So that's one of the things that we're going to add to the CKG, of course. But you always find these things after the fact. And specifically when I was looking at that, some of those ships that are in the CKG, I don't know what they are. I have to go look online. I didn't know what a cog was. Once I saw it, I said, oh, that's a cog. I didn't know that's what that was called. But so that's what kind of triggered that whole thing, is we've got to get all of this. We got to get these images in here just to help all of us that are kind of visually oriented plunge into it. Which, of course, is a little contradictory to me telling Jim to not use visual aids. But in this case, when it's a technical thing, you kind of have to have some kind of idea of where you're going. You can't describe it if you don't know what it looks like, right? So that's always a crazy problem with that. Maybe optional rules for descending AC. Epi, we may try to wedge that in there. You know, that's really the major holdover from 3rd edition was that ascending armor class. Because that's how they shifted it. I guess in 3rd edition was when they shifted off of the descending armor class. But a chart, if we can jam it in there, we may put that in there. I mean, it's very simple. You just flip it, of course. The problem with the CKG, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to add to it, but it's already 352 pages. When we start getting to the 400-page mark, I start getting nervous, and it's so thick that it becomes unwieldy, and it doesn't want to stay together. Now, a way to mitigate that I have discovered is paper type. So when we used to use a 60-pound offset, but now we're using a 70-pound offset, something else with the paper thinner. It holds the color better, but it's a lot thinner. So a 400-page book is less bulky today than it was a few years ago, at least when we go color. So I have assented to adding 32 pages, which is going to put us at 380. 390, something like that, and that's where we'll land. Hopefully those images. But if we have a little room, we'll jam that descending AC thing in there. That'd be cool. The Walry are strictly in the player's handbook. That's where they go on the equipment list, along with the bag of dust, which is. I put that walrus in there because I needed something to even the columns down. It was driving me nuts, so I put the walrus in just to make it fit in my tiny brain. Make it actually work. Yes, it's canon now, and it will never be removed. So long as I am sitting at the helm, it stays. So that's a good thing. All right, good deal. I may not have to run up the mountain. That's all. Did I miss any questions in there? Talking about visual aids tonight, things that I do and suggest on how to make the whole thing a little bit, using visual aids a little bit better. So, we talked about the double tap, give them the description twice, kind of drive it at home on that, and then if you're going to actually use a picture or something like that, do it after you've given your description. Then you show them the picture, or if you can, reload it on your phone, send it on the phone so that everybody, in a group chat, everybody has it simultaneously, and there's not an awkward pause of you holding, the picture up doing this. It's just everybody looks at their phone, and then they can all kind of digest it at the same time. That's always dangerous, of course. Letting any player pick up their phone is always a problem, because then they want to check a text or whatever, and you go off. You go off the deep end. So the third trick of the trade is I'm going to actually spend most of it plugging a site I absolutely love and never pronounce right or rarely do. Pinterest. I don't use Google. I'm not a fan of Google. It's actually forbidden that anyone send me. It works for Troller Games. I don't want any Google links. I don't want any Google files. I don't want any Google shared documents. I don't want anything on Google. I hate that company. I don't know why. I just hate it. So I for the longest time I used. That's right, Chuck. The baboons are there. For the longest time, I used Bing, and I guess about a year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or something. I don't know. They changed the way the search function worked on images, and it became quite aggravating. But by that time, I think Tim had set us up a Pinterest account, and we've got one. So I had been using Pinterest pretty regularly. At first, to load pictures up onto it, we were putting on the blog. It became kind of a reservoir for pictures that were going to go on the blog, which I only post on 2 or 3 times a week now. But that big thing, yeah, exactly. Damn Google. But so I kind of fell in love with Pinterest, and I love how their algorithm works. It throws up, when you search for things, it starts throwing up other images that are similar to that, but it'll always keep some that you searched from, 3 months ago. That'll pop up occasionally, and it's all right there, and it's nice, easily to view field, and you scroll down, and when you click one, it goes to images similar to that one, and you've got this long field. Whereas if you go to Bing and you click it, and it's got this little thing opens up on the side. It's just aggravating. All of it's aggravating. I don't use Google, so I can't tell you how it works. Plus, I recommend you don't use Google because, well, it's just a horrible company. But, I'm just not a huge fan. Yes, I Bing it. I Bing it all the time. But use Pinterest. It's really a good site. And the nice thing about it, a lot of people that have an artistic eye, I don't, but a lot of people that do have an artistic eye use Pinterest, and they pin things up that are already that look cool, that photographs that are done beyond it. It's not just kind of an algorithm yanking of whatever image is most searched or however that crap works on Bing and Google. It's a site that's got a lot of people who have a lot of love of visual things, and it shows. You can see from the pictures of, there's a lot, if you go into my feed, there's a lot of images of LARPers, the knights, because I love those pictures when they do these kind of simulated realistic battles and people are bloodied and what have you. And I use those frequently on the blog and on Twitter and on Facebook where I post things. I do the same thing for terrain. I do the same thing for painted miniatures. There's a whole lot of really insanely detailed miniatures that come with little terrain features and whatnot, and bases, the whole thing. But they're insanely beautiful, and these professional painters paint these things, and they're extraordinarily cool. And if you're looking for a visual aid to supply to your players, Pinterest is really the place to get it. So I strongly recommend. It does. Yeah, I get about probably 4, Willie. I get about 4 notifications a day at least. And I always click them, and I click it and just look just for something that will inspire me to write. We don't, our Facebook and Twitter is devoted to gaming and RPGs and Castles and Crusades, and specifically in Amazing Adventures. There's no politics. There's none of that. You get that. There's plenty of places to get all that crap. You don't need it on our feed. So I try to post daily. I fail, but I try to post daily, just kind of. What do they call them? Tags to get into a game, just something to get a GM or a player's mind into the gaming mindset. Little inspirational pieces, and I'll almost every one of those pictures, I would say 99% of those pictures come from Pinterest, and a good chunk of them come from when that recommendation shows up in my inbox. I'll click it and then go. And you are right, it is a rabbit hole, because what's cool about it and bad about it is you'll click it. Like Willie said, and then there's this picture, then you'll click this other one, and then these images that you haven't thought about for 3 months pop up, one at the bottom of the little scroll feed, whatever it's called. You click it, and then you're off onto another. It's great. I mean, it's a time sump, so you got to be careful. But for inspiration, it's absolutely fantastic. It'll only take a few weeks to get your feed filled with stuff that you like. And it's great stuff. So if you're looking for images, if you're looking for stuff that has kind of an artistic flair, then definitely go to Pinterest. Raffle coming up in 7 minutes at 8:40. We're doing the raffle. We'll give that announcement at that time. After it's officially announced, you type in !raffle, and then we're giving something free away. I don't know what it is, but I'll let you know in 7 minutes. All right. So leaving Pinterest behind, we're going to wander into trick of the trade number 4. Yeah, blue mattress, that or blue materia. Yeah, absolutely. There are some insanely beautiful mats on Pinterest, and the ones that I absolutely love the best are those kind of the 3D ones that show. You know what I'm talking about. It's not just a flat thing. You see the moat and belly castle with the keep and the hill and all of that stuff. Very cool stuff. And Pinterest is at what is it? 15-year-old site, 20-year-old site? I don't know. 15, 10 years, and it's just absolutely chock full of stuff. We have tried any number of times to get our stuff up on there, but we always kind of we wander off and forget to get it up. So we get a little bit up and then forget about it. Yes, it is. Ultra Magnus NPC stuff. There's tons. You can just go to my Facebook right now and you'll see two that I posted in the last couple of days, today and yesterday, I think. And there were these beautifully painted miniatures that could easily, I could make a character and play them off of those things in a heartbeat. Absolutely love Pinterest. Cannot recommend it enough. If you don't have an account, head over and make it up. And never go to Google again. I think I would describe the NPC looking at the picture, put the picture up on the wall with the name underneath, and players could reference them after. It's good. I mean, it really, Pinterest is just, and you can't, the way the other search engines work, it's not as easy to use, and you'll find yourself getting frustrated. At least I do. Star Wars art, yeah, that's it. And see, that's the thing. Anything that you type in, it starts popping up. And if you're playing a Star Wars RPG or you're playing whatever it is, Serenity, that doesn't matter. This stuff is going to fill your feed, and it's going to inspire you like nobody's business. All right. So let's dive into number 4. Hold on just a second. Hey, Kat.
Yeah.
I'm streaming, babe.
Oh, well, don't answer. Bye.
Bye. That was my wife. She was calling me. She's on the road at the moment. We got rumors of tornadoes rolling through Arkansas. So I wouldn't normally answer the phone during a stream, but she's on the road. It's dark. It's thundering. There might be a tornado whirling around. So probably best that I answer that. But it's not. She'll be home soon, so it shouldn't be an issue. So number 4, Trick of the Trade number 4. She hung up immediately. She found out I was streaming, but Jennifer, I'll tell you this. She said that you did hello. So Trick of the Trade number 4 is, and this is just, man, we all got to follow this, and is no video. Just don't ever pull the phone up and show them a video of anything. I've probably done it once or twice, and it turned into an unmitigated disaster. Because then anytime they see a video, suddenly they're visually somewhere else other than your descriptive text, and they're doing whatever. And now they're off on YouTube watching whatever video, and they're all laughing about. At my table, it's always going to end up in the Beastie Boys. Some Beastie Boys video is going to be playing at the table, which is going to derail the whole game. So just stay off the YouTube or wherever. No videos at the table. It's just don't do it. And if you're like me, I don't care for the Beastie Boys that much. So. What is their famous song? Not Savage. Can't remember that damn song. It was in the Star Trek movie when he chases the robots off with Sabotage. There it is. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so Sabotage always ends up, if any kind of YouTube thing happens, Sabotage is playing at my table in just a minute or two. I think primarily because Todd knows it drives me absolutely bonkers, especially after that Star Trek movie, which was okay. The movie was cool, whatever. But when he scattered the robots or whatever they were, drones, I can't. It's too long. With Sabotage, I thought, are you kidding me? I actually texted Mac and said, "Do you know what I'm listening to right now?" It was really fun. He got a great joy out of it. Next to Kiss, Beastie Boys are his favorite band. So, Matt gives me a lot of grief on it. For those of you who don't know, Matt Golden, longtime good friend of mine. Co-writer, co-designer of Castles and Crusades. So he's always part of the troll den, always and forever. The poor bastard. All right, so just avoid the YouTube, just avoid any kind of video. Tim, I think before I dive into number 5, I think we are about to do the raffle. Is that where we are? We could play a few bars of Sabotage for those people who may not know it, but. Wait, I haven't announced it yet, Twitchy. Hold on. I think Tim has to announce it, I think. Is that how that works, Tim? We've lost Chuck. I think he's passed out in some kind of drug-induced delirium. But yeah, I think it was. See, now here's part of the problem. No, Tim should still be with us. He's up in the mountains at the moment, and his internet is spotty when there's storms, and Arkansas is getting hammered by storms at the moment. So, all right. So can we go now? Tim, Chuck, somebody, let's do it. Okay. All right. So I guess that's the I guess that's the go ahead. Everybody type in exclamation raffle, and it'll go into the whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Probably drinking one now. Probably need to ratchet that down a little bit. Contest. You misspelled it. I see what you're doing. So, as we are diving into the raffle, I definitely type that in. We will dive into Trick of the Trade number 4. So this is what I really think visual aids. That's a great picture there, Chuck. I had no idea what that was until just now. That's very cool. So this is what I think visual aids are really good for. And it's to inspire you, the GM. I will sit late at night, family goes to bed, Trollzah sort of shut down. I will watch YouTube videos. I'll wander around the rabbit hole. I'll go down the rabbit hole on Pinterest, just looking at images that inspire me. And I cannot count the number of games that have been directly spurred off of an image or a video I saw or something, and the stuff goes. I mean, it goes wild. It may have absolutely nothing to do with game at all. I think in the Trick of the Trade, I'll see if I can't pull this up. In the Trick of the Trade, I mentioned specifically let's see if I can get this over here. A group called Fawn. It's a German. I guess it's folk music. My German's extraordinarily rusty, so. So I can't tell you what it is. Yeah, here we go. So this pops up on my feed. I don't really know why. I don't know where it came from. Yes, I do. I was listening. They have a thing called Dance With Me, Tanz mit mir. And this came up, after I listened to that Tanz mit mir for a while. In this video here, I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. The music was really cool. But the visuals were absolutely astounding, and it happened to be just before I was going to run a game where the players are crossing over Kaomar, and they're specifically supposed to encounter the old Aylmer, not Aylmer, the Ephraim, the ancient Ephraim was the idea behind it. And when I watched this video, it instantly I didn't really have a good idea of what the Ephraim was going to look like. I had kind of a vague mishmash in my head of some kind of Egyptian mess and some kind of this and that, but I didn't have a good idea. And then when I watched this video, it all kind of fell into my head, and it was really cool about it. The Ephraim, of course, used to worship the river goddess Tefnut, and at the end of this video, you'll see, if you watch it, you'll see this goddess-like figure appear in a marriage ceremony. I don't know what's going on, but the visual in it is very, very cool. And it's probably just you. You're probably getting hammered by a storm. Am I moving? Am I wiggling for everybody else? The raffle bit isn't telling us we have entered. And Tim may have been half knocked off the internet. Okay, Babunski, Chuck's got me, so we're good. We may have lost Tim here and there with this storm that's rolling in. He is in the hinterlands on a river. He's just in deep Arkansas, so his internet gets spotty at times. Why he comes down here to do the World Anvil on Wednesday, so that he goes to Jonesboro because it gets a little bit dicey up there in the mountains. But all cool. So at any rate, so really the 5th trick of the trade is use these visual images for you. And the internet is absolutely overloaded with these things. There's imagery everywhere, and there's the craziest imagery you're ever going to think of. There's so many creative and imaginative people out there who have just kind of put their, either, a spastic response to whatever, or their heart and soul into it. And there's just tons of stuff out there for you to look at and inspire yourself. And it's really kind of and this is one reason I like Pinterest, because Pinterest comes with there's no strings, right? There's no messages, there's nothing. It's just maybe a little advertisement here and there, but for the most part, it's just images that you can look at and enjoy. tag them on your own board or keep them or whatever you want to do. So the big thing on Trick of the Trade number 5 is to use these images for yourself. You don't necessarily have to take it to show it to the players. You just need to get yourself fired up and inspired that this is what's happening, this is what this looks like, and then you're off to the races, as they say, because at the end of the day, you're running that game, and you're the one you've got to see it in your own mind first, right? And you have to understand what it is and what you want to convey. And at that point, that's where visuals really kick in and really help, at least for me. And I will spend too much time, entirely too much time, just looking at odd things. If you friend me on Facebook and follow me on, what I put up on Facebook, you'll see some of the odd stuff. I listen to very odd music. You'll see the strangest music pop up on my feed because it's just stuff that's interesting, and there's so much stuff out there and I cannot stress enough. Almost all of it in one capacity or the other ends up either in the game designing that I'm doing, the writing that I'm doing for you guys, the solo game, or the game that I'm running on Thursday night or whenever I run a game. So absolutely. So we got one more minute to. Oh, kneel before the wheel. We got one more minute to enter the raffle. Is that what you're saying there, Tim? I believe that's what you're going at. Raffle closes down at 8:46. So that's it for me for the Tricks of the Trade. That's the 5 I've got on visual aids. To recap very quick, focus on the descriptions. That's the first one. Definitely focus on the descriptions. If you don't get it across, double tap, give it to them twice. If you are going to use visual aids, give them the description. I think this is what Willie said, or one of you guys said. Give them the description and then show them the visual. That way they've got at least what you're trying to convey before they get the visual itself. So you've got some control of the visual that's going on. When you're looking for visuals, I strongly rate the third trick is strongly recommend Pinterest. Definitely mine that field. It is absolutely rich to it. Fourth, never use videos. Don't ever use a video. Definitely don't ever use YouTube. It's much too. It's not a rabbit hole. It's like a zone. It's a giant time zone. So don't use YouTube at your table. Use YouTube to get your inspirations going up, and that's the number 5 trick of the trade. Of course, use all of these images, whether it's YouTube or Pinterest or Bing or don't go to Google, whatever it is. Use that to inspire you to make the game that you want to have going on. Yes, number 6, never send a Google link to me. I got so many Google links. I think it was like 3 weeks ago. I got like 4 in one day, and at this point, everyone who works for Troller Games, there's about 10 of us that everyone should know I hate Google. But I was getting all these Google links that it was infuriating me. And I told Tim, I Skyped Tim, I said, the next person who sends me a Google link, I'm just going to fire them just for sending me a Google link. So I don't know what it is about Google. One, I think the company's business practices are just not ethical. That one knucklehead with his glasses is always saying, we're going to take your private data no matter what. Well, that's just wrong on so many levels. You're going to be a thief, Don't tell me you're a thief. Let me have my illusions or something. I don't know. But and also I just don't like I don't like anything about it. Don't use Google. Just don't use Google. Just don't do it. Go somewhere else. Hashtag Steve hates Google. Yeah, now if you want to use whatever, just freedom of everything. I don't think I've probably used that site other than the Google link twice in the past 3 or 4 years. I mean, it is probably 10 times in the past 10 years. I just don't go there. Bing is a fair enough site. At any rate, that's enough Google ranking. So, did someone win? Freedom of everything. There you go. That's what America's all about. I mean, you're allowed to hate what you want to hate. You're allowed to love what you want to love. That's the whole human experience, isn't it? And that's what we get to do. Yeah. So Tim Troller Games here has heard my Google rant many times. So we will spare Tim. Sadly, it probably is watching me now somehow. All these Google links that people send me. Yeah, Tim has heard the Google stuff far too much. Well, so that's it for us tonight. That's it for Jim's Tricks of the Trade number 41. Thank you all so very, very much for showing up. We surely do appreciate it. I will be back on Tuesday at 4, and then Tim will be back next Wednesday, and I'll be back again next Thursday at 8 for Jim's Tricks of the Trade number 42. And then Chuck's running a game on Saturday, I think at 10. It's 10 Eastern time, it may be 9, but we're going to get a menu up on the Twitch channel very soon so everybody can see what's going on. But thank you all for showing up. I sure appreciate it. Give us a follow if you haven't, and we will see you either at Chuck's game on Saturday or next Tuesday. We surely do appreciate it. Well, I don't know how to do the raid now. Deeper John, so you guys are on. Oh, wait, we're doing a raid. All right, I'm out. I got to go. Take it easy.